So everyone, welcome to our session today. It's a very, very important topic. And my heart's wish is that at the end of the session, that each one of you can take away something that helps you increase your confidence, to build your self-confidence. You know, when I was younger, my confidence was really, really poor. And I knew it because I would often be fearful in different scenarios in my life. And that fear always held me back. I wouldn't say what I wanted to say. I wouldn't take the actions that I'd like to take or go after the goals, set big goals for myself. And I knew something was wrong, but I thought that others also felt that same way. And I never really gave attention to it. And it was really in my 30s that I I started building my confidence, in my 30s. And, you know, when I speak to people who knew me in my 20s and 30s, I mean, next Sunday I'll be 49, so I'm getting to 50, and tell them that I had challenges with my confidence, they would never believe me. My best friends would never believe me. They would say that, Steve, you're just making this up. But no, I know what it is to have no confidence. I know what that feels like. And I know what it is to have a lot of confidence and what it is to be very courageous. And, this confidence is like a muscle that we could build every day. We just have to give attention to the activities that are required to build our confidence. So I'm Steve Sankar, transformational life coach. I help people build an empowered mindset, create mental and emotional resilience, overcome the challenges in their life, and achieve the goals that they've set for themselves. So I host this monthly class, free to the public. Anyone can join. The aim is to create awareness of ways of growing, create an opportunity for people to join in a community of support that we can feel that we're here together on this journey of transformation. And this is my act of love and kindness. All right. So let's jump into what we have planned for today. So some tips for our session. You will notice that I have muted your microphones. That's so we won't have any accidental interruptions. Usually it's a very tight 40 minutes and interruptions take us away from our goal. Please write questions and comments in the chat as the session goes on. So don't wait till the end. Please put them in as you think them. And please be respectful to others. Do take notes for your future reference and challenge yourself to listen and engage with an open mind that is willing to learn. We all are very experienced and we are all very knowledgeable about all sorts of things in life. To be able to learn new things, we have to be willing at times to suspend what we know, all those beliefs, and allow our mind to embrace new information that we can then analyze on our own and see whether it makes sense for us. So I've already gone through this. Our session objectives, understanding what self-confidence truly means, common causes of low confidence. There are many factors that could get in the way of our confidence, and that we go through some tools to boost confidence daily. Okay, we're not going there yet. And anyone who's new will notice that I'm here navigating the technology, right? So confidence is an important quality that we all have. We all have confidence within us. So even though we may not feel confident, confidence is inside of us already. Each of us, we are full of all sorts of absolutely wonderful and fantastic qualities and skills and abilities. Oftentimes, the challenge is that they're hidden and we need some help to find it. But once we rediscover it, or once we discover it, there is no limit to our potential. So confidence influences all aspects of our life, whether it's the personal or professional life, contributing to happiness and success. The confidence comes from deep within. So it's not something that we bring into us. It's not a tablet that we take or a tonic. No, it comes from within. We emerge it, we develop our confidence. And it really comes from our place of goodness. Each of us, our place of goodness, you know, in that place within us, deep within us, my apologies, everyone. That is my internet provider for you. So I was sharing that we all have these good qualities within us, and this confidence, it's like an energy. It can show up on our faces. Those of us who are familiar with energy vibrations, each human, we have an energy. You can feel that energy. It radiates. It's contagious. Others can recognize it. And this energy that's within us, it attracts what we want out of life naturally, rather than us having to believe that everything is to be chased. Everything isn't hard work in life. When we keep our thinking in the right place, our energy is in the right place, and life also happens for us. People can think that confidence would mean arrogance. Confidence doesn't mean that you're better than anyone else. And it certainly doesn't mean having all the answers or never experiencing doubt. It's certainly not about being perfect, about being attractive or being super intelligent. No. We can even think that because I'm confident, that I won't feel afraid or nervous. Some people think that you either have confidence or you don't. And that also, to begin any task, important tasks, we have to feel confident. No, you just have to start. Confidence is is not required to begin anything. And yes, others and environments, challenging environments, can impact negatively on our confidence if we do not know how to manage that information that we receive. And I want to encourage you that when others share things with you about you, that you treat it as information in a very neutral way. Don't always believe what others say about you. Because if we don't have a part to play in how we interpret and accept that, whenever we hear negative things, we will believe it. We will believe it. So don't think that because people say things to you that they criticize you, that it necessarily means it's going to lower your confidence. No, don't believe everything you hear. Confidence is about trusting yourself. It's about showing up for yourself, for taking the necessary steps, even when you're in doubt or when you're uncertain about the outcome of the action you're going to perform. Confidence comes from the way I see myself. So when I was younger, I didn't see all the wonderful qualities in myself. No, I knew I was nice, nice in the sense that I was a good person. Um, People always were drawn to me because of my kindness. They always said my energy was positive. Um, I was light energy to be around. But I didn't really see the value in myself. I didn't see it. And, you know, when I was younger, I would get into romantic relationships. And due to the lack of confidence, I never knew why anybody would want to stay. So I would always leave. And people would always be very unhappy with me. In hindsight, I could look back and see myself through eyes of compassion and also learn. So confidence is about how I see myself. Do I see myself with value, with worth? Do I see myself with capacity, with potential? Do I see myself as being able to succeed in life, to create happy relationships? Do I see myself as having a right to be here on this planet, like everybody else? Having a right to success and all the great things that the world can still offer, no matter what's happening now. There is still goodness in the world. It's also about my belief and mindset, the things that I believe. And mindset meaning the way I look at things. How resilient am I when I'm facing challenges and obstacles? And it's about being able to act even when you don't feel comfortable to act. You know, people who are in leadership roles have to act. That's one of the roles of the leader. It doesn't matter how you feel, you need to take action. That just goes with the territory. Everyone will look to the leader. It's like in a home, a family with parents and kids. The kids will always look at the parents. Even if something is going horribly wrong, they will run to the parents. So those of us in leadership roles, we have to be able to act no matter what's happening. And that's what confidence is. And we draw on ourselves, on our competencies, on our strengths, on who we are to be able to take those steps. Confidence helps us to overcome fear. And fear really is at the root of low confidence. Fear. And that fear could show up in so many ways, so many ways. fear of loss, fear of rejection. Um, I think those are two main ones that we struggle with. Yeah, losing things and being rejected. Having confidence improves your mental health by reducing stress and anxiety. When you think of a situation that's happening and you feel you need to say something or do something, and then you can't because of fear, it creates stress and anxiety. So by not honoring ourselves, by not showing up, by not acting, this is what we create for ourselves, stress and anxiety. Confidence allows us to take risks and to make decisions without fear of judgment of others. So we think about what others would say, so we just don't. No, do it. Do it. And this ability to act without fear, it helps build mental and emotional resilience. Because again, stress, anxiety, no mental and emotional resilience. Confidence helps improve relationships with the people who matter most to us by allowing us to express our true self without fear of rejection. Saying what you want to say, saying what you mean, and meaning what you say. So I invite you to take a moment and think of how confident you feel today in this moment. So on a scale of 1 to 10, see where you are. All right. So in the chat, Frank is asking, what's the main difference between confidence and arrogance or cockiness? So arrogance and cockiness is related to us thinking we're better than others. That's when that shows up. Me believing that I'm better than others, that I am superior and they're inferior. And confidence is about seeing the value in me and also seeing the value in others. Confidence can go hand in hand with humility. And humility is really about being able to recognize the value in others, their worth. Joe is saying that the confidence is at a 6, so there's room to go to 10, right? Okay, it's at 8. Congratulations. Congratulations. So let's get back to the slides. Thank you for sharing. So some common causes of low confidence. And as I go through them, see what you think applies to you. So limiting beliefs. Limiting beliefs, and we've done a session on limiting beliefs. It's doubt. Limiting beliefs are things we've come to believe over time. It could be beliefs about ourselves or others, and they hold us back. So limiting beliefs about myself often start with I can't, or I won't, or I shouldn't. I'm not educated enough to get into a leadership role. I'm too old to learn. So, I'm too unfit to begin exercising. I'm too fat to go to the gym. I'm too ugly to find a good-looking partner. All of these things, limiting beliefs. So once those limiting beliefs continue to be present in our minds, it lowers our confidence naturally. So watch out for those limiting beliefs. And if anyone who's here now would like to view the session recording on limiting beliefs, please send me an email and I'll be happy to share that with you. And if you could send that following the session or within the next 24 hours, I'll be able to get it out to you soon. The second one is fear. We live in a world that's full of fear and no end of reasons to be fearful. However, a lot of what we fear actually doesn't happen. And we have to question those fears, see if they're valid, see what the risk is, because it really comes down to the risk, right? The risk. So it's my fear of something happening. Look for the evidence. Really look and see where that fear is coming from and how valid it is. And again, fear is linked to limiting beliefs, negative self-talk. So it's so common for people to have negative self-talk about themselves and others. All day, it's a running commentary. Never on the positive side. Good things are not going to happen. No one's going to do good things to me. People always get in the way. People always try to get at me. Self-criticism, a lot of self-criticism. Again, that brings the confidence down. And the fourth one I'd like us to look at is perfectionism. Wanting to be perfect. So, because I can't achieve whatever I think perfect is, it lowers my confidence. So, any perfectionists here? I remember when I used to have that challenge in my own life, wanting to be perfect and making a mess. And if you see, you know, if you find yourself having any of these causes, get to work on it right away. Right away, get to work on it. I'd like you to take a minute and write down one recurring negative thought that you experience about yourself. A negative thought that shows up from time to time about yourself. Just take 1 minute and do that, please. When we look at the common causes of low confidence, so the limiting beliefs, the fear, the perfectionism, and the negative self-talk, It all starts with thoughts, my thoughts. So my mind creates thoughts. My thoughts determine my attitude, my intentions, the way I see things. That in return affects what I say and what I do. So my actions, my behaviors, my behaviors, when repeated, become habits, and my habits determine my destiny. So notice it starts with a thought. So if you consider the thought the seed of all the feelings, of all the actions, of all the habits, then pay attention to the way you think. Pay attention to the way you think. And there's an old saying, if you want to change your life, just change the way you think. Change the way you think. So let's look at some practical ways to build confidence. So confidence is like a muscle that you could build and grow each day on your own without having to go to the gym or having to go anywhere. Just put into practice some of the tools and strategies. The first one would be to spend some time recognizing your inner resources. And your inner resources would be your good qualities, your strengths, your skills, your values. Write them down and let them become a part of your consciousness. When we think of professional confidence or personal confidence, it's based on our inner resources, on the who we are. The second one is positive self-talk and the use of positive affirmations. So when we look at the negative things we say, we can change them with positive self-talk and positive affirmations. We can rewire our brain for positivity, for mental and emotional resilience through positive affirmations. And there is a particular way to practice it. Again, it is possible. The same way we have negative self-talk that we believe, we practice positive self-talk that we also believe. Our mind believes a lot that we tell it. The use of body language and posture. So just when you stand upright or you sit upright, you could feel a change in your energy. The body in some way signals the mind. Try it for yourself. Wherever you're sitting, sit upright on the chair and see how you feel. There's a difference already. But I hope you can experience it. Another way is to celebrate your small wins, acknowledge your accomplishments, your successes. Oftentimes, we strive so hard to accomplish all the goals, small and big ones. And by the time we get to that point, accomplishing the goal, there's a new one. So we might be working on, say, studying an academic course for 2 years, or even 6 months or 6 weeks. Something that's meaningful. By the time you complete it and you're successful, there is something else. Let us acknowledge our small wins. It builds our self-confidence and our self-esteem. We can develop competencies through consistent actions. By developing the competencies, we become confident, we become self-assured having that competency. So for example, say I'm a cook, I'm a home cook, and I'm new to it, and I'm trying things, but over time, I could become better So I'm cooking for my family and I feel insecure because I'm never really confident about what the outcome is going to be. And anybody here who had that experience when they were new to cooking would know what I'm talking about, you know? But by becoming better, it builds your confidence. And I'm just saying cooking, but it could be anything. It could be anything, right? Where you feel confident about doing it. There is nothing holding you back. So developing confidence through consistent actions. The last one I'd like to look at is visualization for confidence building. So using our mind, we can create an image of us accomplishing a difficult task. And, it is said that our mind and the brain cannot differentiate really between what's happening in here and what's happening out here. So our body can respond to what's happening in here as if it's happening out here. Visualization. So I know there are some of you who practice meditation, and you would know what visualization is. It really is creating a picture in your mind. And I invite you to join me for a small activity in visualization. So to do this, sit comfortably in your chair. I invite you to close your eyes if you feel comfortable to. If you don't, just close it halfway so you can still see. And think of any goal that's important to you right now, anything you're undertaking that you haven't yet completed. And especially if you could find something that's challenging. You know, through your mind, visualize yourself through the process of doing whatever you need to do, of everything working out, and you being successful. So you're creating a mental picture in your mind, like a video. That's important for you. As you create that picture of success, I want you to feel it. Create the feeling as if it is real, as if it is happening. Okay, so let's continue. I hope you were able to create that picture in your mind, and it may be new for some of you in this moment, trying to do it at will. But generally, people create pictures in their mind all the time about things happening, all the time about things happening. Not so great things, not so great things. All right. So it's an activity that you can practice along with the others that I've shared and see how that helps you build your confidence. Based on the different tools, techniques, and strategies I've shared, I'd like you to think about one step that you'll take today to strengthen your confidence. What are you willing to do beginning today to strengthen your confidence? Step. So I'm looking at the chat here. Sasha's confidence level is at 12 today. Sometimes she wakes up a baddie and then a saddie. I get you. I get you. Christopher, Vivica. And, taking the time can be procrastination and okay, but if it's because of fear rather than procrastination, just start. Don't wait to be ready. Just get up and do it. Take one baby footstep. And yes, Joe, um, yes, it's possible. We could be very confident in one area of our life and not in the next. And it's just to look at what we're saying to ourselves. Yeah, being hard on ourselves. So thank you all for sharing. At this moment, I'd like to invite one person, just one person, to share for a moment about how you thought the session was or what you're taking away from it. We just have 1 minute. Anyone? We're running out of time, so if no one's taking the opportunity, I'm okay with that. Um, I'd like to encourage you and to urge you to please take the steps required to build your confidence. You will get a lot more out of life. Absolutely. I can tell you about, what my life used to look like before confidence and what it looks like now. The before and after, and even you might think of yourself moments where you were confident and not confident and could observe the difference in how you went forward and what life became for you as a result. I have a final slide to share with you with a thought, a quote from Nelson Mandela, and that is, courage is not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. Oh, wonderful, Nelson Mandela. So thank you all so much. We're out of time, and I don't want to go ahead. So I really appreciate all of you joining. Feel free to connect with me either by email or on WhatsApp. And I look forward to seeing you all next month. So stay happy, have a wonderful night, and I wish you all very, very high confidence. Good night, everyone. Bye-bye. Thanks so much for joining.